I'd like to call to order the Iredell County Board of Commissioners 6 o'clock regular meeting for Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2026. At this time, I would like to ask Vice Chair Nieder to give the invocation for the Board of Commissioners as we seek guidance and wisdom in the work we're about to do for the citizens of Iredell County.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening with thanks and praise for our many blessings. We ask you to guide our decisions, provide clarity, and continue to open our eyes, ears, and our hearts. To be in this role as Commissioner is an honor, Lord, an opportunity to serve. We ask you to please continue to provide strength and fortitude to face difficulties, negativity, reckless, hurtful words with calm and serenity, focusing on the working and the business and the decisions that we need to make for the citizens of Iredell County. May we all choose paths to be closer to you, our dear Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
At this time, I'd like to ask Commissioner Stroud to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to ask the County Manager, I know we got a couple adjustments to the agenda. If you can go over those, please, ma'am.
We do. We actually have the addition under announcements of vacancies occurring on boards and commissions, and that is the detailed list of announcements that we have that I'll go over at 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Brown. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. We do not have any special presentation or special recognitions or awards tonight. We do not have an appointment before the board, but we do have a public hearing tonight, and I'll turn it over to the manager so she can get Mr. Todd up here and do that one.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair Conley. We do have a public hearing to consider a request to rezone approximately 42.65 acres along Taylorsville Highway, and Mr. Mandy Todd is here to make this presentation to the board.
Good evening. The rezoning we have before us tonight is currently zoned to M1. The request is to rezone to RA, outlined in blue on the screen. This property was rezoned just a few years ago from RAR20 to the M1. Since that time, the property owner found out they were rezoning it for their own personal use. But in working with the railroad, there was additional cost that was not planned for a crossing. So this time they're asking for it to be rezoned back. Staff does support this request, mostly with it based on a timing issue of the development. We still recognize or we still have the land use plan calling for it to be in commercial industrial use. We still agree with that, but it just seems like it was not the right timing for the rezoning. Planning board voted unanimously to support this request. There was no opposition at planning board either. This is the 2045 Horizon Plan showing that area along the rail line to be the employment center. Just an aerial of the property. A few images. Property's on our left, looking back toward town. Looking directly across. Back towards Stony Point with the property on our right. So there is an existing driveway you can see there on the screen. But in order to improve it for commercial industrial, the railroad was going to you're going to have arms that would come down to block traffic for safety reasons, and the cost was just above what the owner could afford at this time. The applicant owner is here. If there's any additional questions, or I'd be happy to answer any questions as well.
Anybody got any questions for Mr. Todd?
So you're saying basically just the cost prohibitive is the reason they want to change it, because of the railroad requirement?
Correct.
And just one more. At any given time, if there's interest in rezoning it back, they just go through the process again.
Come back through, and because we're not changing the land use plan, we would support it as well, to go back to an M1 and industrial type use.
Does that present a special problem for, if you go back to the RA, people that may want to develop residential, are they gonna have a problem based on the 2045 or no?
No.
Or just whatever's within RA?
Right. The RA uses would be allowed with.
Right, yeah, by right.
You're not gonna be able to get a major subdivision on there either, cause it's gonna
Rail.
face the same.
Still gonna have to have the rail
Yeah.
access.
Does the applicant wish to talk on this matter, or
Say that.
does the applicant want to speak on this matter, or?
I don't think so. They'd be
Okay.
happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Everybody good on it? Okay, I will open up the public hearing in regards to consider a request from applicant landowner Mandy Huffman of Anchor Management Team LLC to rezone approx 42.65 acres along Taylorsville Highway. I'd like to ask if anybody would here like to speak on this matter. Hearing none and seeing none, I will close the public comment period and ask, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the zoning map amendment and to make a finding that while said approval is inconsistent with the 2045 Horizon Plan, it is reasonable and in the public interest because due to the impeded access, the property has failed to develop commercially and the surrounding area remains primarily residential in nature. In conjunction, it is also a motion that the 2045 Horizon Plan designation remains Employment Center Industrial Flex Office at this time.
Motion by Commissioner Houp. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Now brings us down to our administrative matters that we covered at the 4 o'clock hour. I turn it over to the county manager.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair Conley. We did review several matters at our 4 o'clock meeting, and the board agreed to place on the consent agenda. There was a request from the Sheriff's Office for approval of Budget Amendment Number 28 to purchase 30 Zoll comprehensive mobilized rescue systems using federal equity sharing funds, and that was in the amount of $63,000, and this would be deployed in all of the schools. A request from the Sheriff's Office for approval of Budget Amendment Number 27 to purchase a 2004 F-350 rescue truck from the Union Grove Fire Department, and that is in the amount of $35,000, and that's going to be, commissary funds are going to be used for that purchase. And in keeping with our fire contract, it was offered to all the fire departments first, and since none were interested in purchasing, then the Sheriff's Office followed through with that purchase. There was a request from administration to grant a utility easement to Energy United for the Jennings Park Overflow Parking Project, which is about 5 acres directly across the street from the Jennings Park project. A request from Finance to proclaim March 2026 as Procurement Month. A presentation of a video from the NCACC President Wallace Nelson outlining the benefits of attending the NCACC district meetings and highlights of his first presidential forum on March the 27th. That was just for informational purposes only. And then finally, a request from administration to approve the minutes from the February 17th, 2026 Board of Commissioners meeting. All of those items were reviewed and agreed to place in the consent agenda.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the pre-agenda consent administrative matters?
Make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Brown. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They are approved.
Thank you. There were 2 items that were on administrative matters that were held over for the 6 o'clock meeting. The first one is a request from Planning and Development to consider calling for a public hearing on March the 17th, 2026 at 6 o'clock p.m. regarding a text amendment to the Land Development Code concerning short-term rentals.
Request to be recused from this item due to potential conflict. In the outcome.
I make a motion to recuse Commissioner Brown.
Motion to recuse Commissioner Brown by Commissioner Stroud. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved. Okay, we're ready to proceed.
So, again, all this is to set the date for the public hearing. This has been through, the planning board twice, and as usual and customary, then it's passed over to the commissioners. So the first step in the process is to call for a public hearing, and the recommendation is March the 17th, which is our next commissioner meeting, at 6 o'clock p.m. to, review the text amendments to the land development.
Do we have a motion to call for public hearing?
I make a motion to call for a public hearing on March 17th.
Motion by Commissioner Stroud. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It is approved. Public hearing will be March 17th, 2026.
And just for the record, that vote was 4-0. Okay. The next item, the final item for administrative matters, is a presentation of the June 30th, 2025 audited financial statements. And Ms. Caroline Taylor is here to make this presentation to the board and introduce our auditors.
You have before you a copy of the 2025 audit, and presentation, there is a copy inside on the front cover of the book, a copy of the presentation. I have Cassie Wilson with Martin Starnes and Associates that's going to go through and go through the presentation for our 2025 audit.
Thank you for having me this afternoon. I'll try to be brief as we go through it, since this is back to 6/30/2025. I'm sure that you've been made aware of the delay related to the shutdown and how that impacted with the OMB supplement that is typically issued in May and didn't come out until Thanksgiving. Of course, the Local Government Commission decided that they were going to go ahead and extend that out to February, and we did meet that deadline to them. So we will go through the information that we issued, an unmodified opinion that is a clean audit opinion on the financial statements. That's the highest quality opinion that we could give. We did complete the single audit testing for both federal and state single audits. We did have a decrease in the number of programs. It was just due to the timing and the amounts compared from 2024 to 2025. We did not have any findings or question cost. The Local Government Commission, the LGC, also has their data input report that has changed in the last couple of years. They have the performance indicators. There were none that were showing on that report this year. So Caroline doesn't have anything else to present to you after this in regards to that. You might want to look at your copy on that. That looks a little blurry to me, but so we just want to remind you of all the changes that have happened. Of course, we had the GASB 101 for compensated absences that you will see that took effect in the report for this year. So if you have any questions when you see those changes in there, the restatement related to that, that's just all a part of the GASB standard that was issued. And then we look forward to 2026, where you will see the changes related to GASB 103 and 104, if there's anything related to that in your assets. But mostly you will see several page changes, schedule changes, and the movement of where things are placed, as well as a discussion in the MD&A for next year. So we talk about the general fund balance and how that changed from 24 to 25. So you'll see that you did have a positive increase from 24 to 25, and that brought your total fund balance for the general fund to the $305,515,883. The LGC focuses on the available fund balance. That available fund balance is their calculation, taking your total fund balance, taking out the non-spendable items, and then their calculation for stabilization by state statute. So once we have that information broken down, you can see that you did have an increase in the available fund balance from 24 to 25. The LGC focuses on the fund balance as a percentage of general fund expenditures. They are comparing you now by your general fund expenditures. When they do unit-to-unit comparisons, they do not use populations. So you will see here what they look at is that 73%, but then when we talk about what you want to see, and as a board, you're looking at that 40% that is really your unassigned. So the general fund summary basically shows that you did have the increases in both in your revenues, and then a slight decrease in the expenditures from 24 to 25. Do you want me to go through any details on the other financing sources and uses that are within those revenues or expenses? Okay. The general fund revenues categories, of course, your largest revenue being the property taxes, and then your other taxes and license. That does include the local option sales tax within that category. We have included the 2024 to 2025 comparison so that you can see what your changes are, but pretty much stayed about the same in comparison, maybe 1% change between categories. The general fund expenditures, again, we're looking at the breakdown of your major categories of expenditures. Public safety was at 28%, with education being at 34%. That's pretty close to what it was. Education was the 35% last year, and then your public safety, it was 25% last year. So a little shift in some of those percentages within here. Human services stayed the same. And then we always want to make sure that we draw attention when you look at your education and your debt service. We've added that note there that 88% of that debt service is for education, and the education-related expenditures with the debt service included in there would take that percentage up to 42%. Then we look at the solid waste fund and what you have reporting for operating income in there. That is positive. The LGC likes to see a positive increase in that operating income. Then you have, of course, your depreciation expense, your total net position, and then your cash flows by operations was positive. But when we look at your net position, you did have unrestricted net position totaling over the $25 million in the solid waste disposal fund. The EMS services fund, a much smaller fund, but another one of your enterprise funds. You can see here we again had positive operating income and depreciation expense. Your total net position did increase, and then your cash flows provided by operations was positive. So you did continue to build on that unrestricted net position for this fund. I would like to just take the opportunity to thank Caroline, Dan, all the department heads, DSS and the health department that provide all the information to us and that timely reporting and all the pieces that come together to make this report happen. We appreciate our relationship with the county, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those. As you look at your report, you'll see that management discussion and analysis really breaks a lot of the information down for you, but I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
Good job, Caroline.
Good job to you all and the staff.
Yep.
One question. What do you typically see, I'm asked this question a lot. What do you typically see in counties similar sizes with the similar growth challenges and school debt and capital? What do you typically see their numbers? And I guess it's all different, I'm sure, but I'm assuming the people with the growth and the challenges we have are all dealing with the same things.
Yes, we have seen across all of our units that we audit that it's a lot of the similar issues with the growth and then balancing where you're at with the property taxes. A lot of the citizens, having the issues with the increase in property valuations, and then you just have to make the decision the best you can based on what your future plans are and what the citizens need in your county. So each one has been very different with what their capital outlay plan is, where they're at with repairs and maintenance and what they need to build on. So you're each a little bit different in that respect. What the local government commission has is information that they've gathered, but unfortunately that information that goes into their database is like a year and a half behind. So you're not really going to see where everybody's at in that comparison, but they do have information. Caroline can share that data input report and where they expect your fund balance compared to expenditures to be and what that percentage is. If you fall below that, then you would get a performance indicator that would require you to respond to them. Is this something intentional or what you're planning? So they do give you a kind of idea of what they would expect your unit to be above. And sometimes, you know, it's around that 38% mark, but really it's going to depend on which breakdown you're looking at, or just general fund specific, and whether you're doing the comparison to the expenditures or not.
And I'm sure Caroline probably pointed out, and thank you, because we always ask them, you know, for, you know, there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation sometimes, but like, you know, if you look at our debt service and 88% of it is education, and that brings it to 42%. But that doesn't take into account the 52 million cash we're building a school with that's not showing in that figure, that I'm assuming the LGC would love to understand, because we put a lot of our projects on hold over the years and save that money for projects. But since we're a mandated capital expenditure for schools, you know, we're spending that revenue.
Right. So what the Local Government Commission has provided now in that data input report is additional questions to fill in specifically related to education spending. They ask what your current expense allocation is,
Right.
what is your capital outlay, what is it across the funds, not just the one specific fund, not just what you have in the general fund, but your capital project funds, and
Right.
what is that spending? So they are
Sure.
trying to look at more of that whole picture.
Because I think, Caroline, we're 172.5 million this fiscal year, counting debt service, what we're putting toward Jennings, what we're putting toward Parkertown and everything.
Yeah.
$52 million for Parkertown Elementary hasn't yet been appropriated. The Board of
Right.
Education hasn't come, so that won't show in the 25 audit. That will
Right.
show in the 26 if the funds are appropriated
I just
between
wanted to
now
mention
and June.
that publicly for the record, because we're investing in the educational mandates that we have to do, but those are also things where we're saying no to other things that are needed projects to be able to do these other things without going into additional debt. That was my point.
But yeah, which holds down the
Right.
debt.
Right.
That would increase, so.
Saving for the projects that are coming up. Yeah.
And I believe that you will see within the report in the management's discussion and analysis, it does talk about your debt rating and how you do have a very high approval with that. And so that is something that's disclosed in there to make sure that's clear.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to accept the fiscal year 2025 audit?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Stroud. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is accepted. Thank y'all very, very much.
Thank you.
That's all our administrative, correct? So now brings us down to the announcement of vacancies occurring on boards and commissions. Turn it back over to the manager.
We have several vacancies that are available on various boards and commissions. Anybody that is interested in serving on any of these or want additional information, you can find a quick summary on our website along with the application, or you can contact our clerk to the board. We have 6 appointments available on the Adult Care Home Advisory Committee, 3 appointments on the Central Carolina Aging Advisory Committee, Region F, 1 appointment on the Iredell County Zoning Board of Adjustment, 1 appointment on the Mooresville Board of Adjustment, which is an ETJ member, 6 appointments on the Nursing Home Advisory Committee, and 1 appointment, which is an alternate appointment, on the Troutman Planning Board, which is also ETJ. Anyone that is curious if they were in the ETJ, we have a map on our website that will show that area, or if anyone's interested in serving and they're not sure if they're in that ETJ area, we can look that up for them and let them know if they qualify for that.
We do not have any appointments to boards and commissions for this evening. Brings us down to unfinished business. Anyone have anything for unfinished business? Public comment period will be at our next meeting this month. Brings us down to commissioner updates, and I'll start over here. Commissioner Houghton, do you have anything? Vice Chair.
Just again, I want to touch on the appreciation for our employees. We had the luncheon and management, so we have coming up, you'll touch on the Again, we can't do it by ourselves. We rely immensely on our help of our county employees and appreciate all of them. Attended a pancake breakfast at one of our local American Legion Post 65. Great opportunity to sit down and have some great conversations in our community with those. And again, it's primary day, running out of time. If you plan on voting, polls close at 7:30. If you haven't already, appreciate those who are informed voters. And to my left, gentlemen, I appreciate you being willing to serve the grant on 3 up here. And with that, I'll pass it on down the line.
Mr. Stroud?
I just want to kind of Vice Chair Nieder, kind of want to apologize to the employees and the retirees for missing the appreciation luncheon. It's one of my actually favorite events. I get to go as all three. I get to go as a former employee, retiree, and as a commissioner, but I had made a commitment to someone else. And so to those folks, I just want to apologize for not being there.
Commissioner Brown, you got anything?
Well, you know, him not being there, you know how much food was left? You know,
So I was in budget savings.
it's true, he was budget saving, but you know what, that is one of my favorite events of the year, because we get to show our employees how much we appreciate them, and they, I think some of them sometimes forget that we're the service of this county. We were getting to serve them that day, and it just tickles me to all those guys come up, they thank me, and I'm saying, guys, we're thanking you, this is for your appreciation. And it's constantly coming up and thank you, but we've got the greatest county in the world. So these guys do a great job. They show up, they work their rears off, and we feed them that little bit, and that little bit, it makes a difference. So we had fun.
Anybody have any new business? County manager's report.
I have a very brief report. One, thank you to you guys that showed up and put on the blue aprons and served the staff. They're always really happy to see us serve them and be there so they can actually have an opportunity to talk to the board, because that's something they don't always get an opportunity to do. Our years of service recognition is, as we said, as Commissioner Kauff said, it's on Friday morning starting at 8 o'clock at Cooperative Extension. So we will have a large group that will be recognizing for the years of service. We do it in increments of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and we actually have some 35-year employees as well. So we will be recognizing them as well as our retirees, and that will be Friday morning. And you said 8 o'clock? Starting at 8 o'clock. We actually, because of the retirements in HR and things of that nature, we're actually recognizing 2 groups. We're recognizing the service awards for 2024 and the service awards for 2025. So we're going to do it a little different this year, and we're going to start with 24. We're going to have the breakfast in the middle, and then we'll do the recognition of the 2025 employees. That way, because we don't have enough room for all of them at one time. So we'll have the 24 coming in, do the breakfast, they'll leave, then the 25 will do breakfast, and then we'll recognize them after. So this is going to be new for us. But that's the way we'll roll. So, and that's all.
Earlier today, we did have a closed session involving economic development in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A4. Personnel in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A6. And attorney-client in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A3. Brings us down to the end of for tonight's meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Commissioner Brown. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.